Randy Jensen first became aware of a transportation gap in the city of Nelson when her elderly mother, who suffers from dementia, was entered into a care facility.
I used to, when she first went into care, be able to put her into my car and take her for drives and do things. And her illness has progressed to a point where she doesn't leave the wheelchair anymore. And there's public transportation that is limited. It's difficult with somebody with dementia, and as a consequence, I'm not really able to take my mom out of the care facility now.
Jensen approached the Kootenay Carshare, an auto cooperative that was incorporated in 2001, to see if they would be willing to add a wheelchair accessible van to their fleet.
By having the wheelchair van as part of the Carshare fleet, it allows people to have a much lower cost to be able to access such a specialized vehicle. You get to use the wheelchair van for when you need it and only when you need it, and you only have to pay for what you use. And we have a great service history. We've been operating since 2001, and this is what we do. So it makes a lot of sense for the Carshare to take this on.
And Jensen's hopes of having a wheelchair accessible vehicle in Nelson are shared by other community groups and members, as Nelson Cares found out through their ongoing age-friendly community initiative.
For about 3 years now, we've been looking at seniors, gaps and barriers in senior services, and working together with a broad set of community collaborators to build better services for seniors. One of the priorities that we established early on was seniors transportation. We realized that kind of at the heart of everything is a senior's ability to get around, especially in an area like this where so many seniors live in rural areas. And out of that came a series of recommendations on how we could improve services, one of which was this great idea to add a wheelchair accessible van to the Carshare.
One of the things that happens, which we're very concerned about, is isolation. And there's so many reasons that seniors and others become isolated. And one of them is they don't have access to transportation. Not necessarily because there isn't somebody who drives a car, but because they have some wheelchair or some mobility problem, which means they cannot get into a normal car. So having something like this that you wouldn't have to own, but you could use when you needed it, would be an absolute godsend.
Currently, the Wheelchair Accessible Van Project is holding a short online survey that they hope will determine what kind of need and demand there is in Nelson for a vehicle of this kind.
Anything that benefits seniors around transportation benefits the whole community, because anything that makes the services more accessible is going to help people with disabilities, people with small children, women who are pregnant, people who have had surgery. I mean, there's so many times in our life where we have difficulty getting around. These resources will help the whole community.
For more information on the Wheelchair Accessible Van Project, or to complete the online survey, visit kootenayseniors.ca. For Go Kootenays in Nelson, I'm Christina Krichkowski.